evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the gymnasium at Milford High School as Milford TV is once again happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call. I'll be joined in moments by Anthony Mazzini as we get set for coverage of the second annual Scarlet Hawk Classic Invitational Tournament. Coach Seaver putting this together for the second consecutive season, and this tournament was a rousing success a year ago, and the Milford Scarlet Hawks were able to come away with the championship in the inaugural run of the Scarlet Hawk Classic. And the team that they defeated last year is the team they will face in the opening round of their tournament play here tonight, the Tantasqua Warriors. And this is becoming a pretty good rivalry between these two schools over the last year, of course, dating back to that sensational game that these two teams played late in the season last year. This tournament was played pretty late in the regular season for the 2015-16 school year. And this was a win for Milford that was pivotal to their run towards an improbable playoff berth. Tantasqua coming into that championship round of last year's tournament on an 18-game winning streak. They had only lost one single game all year long, and Milford was able to defeat Tantasqua. They ended up overwhelming them in the second half, and Milford was able to take that championship game by a final score of 76-62. As again, that was part of Milford's run to ultimately a 500 finish to the season after being well out of the playoff picture late into January. And so these two teams matching up in the opening round of tournament play this season. And of course, we mentioned the rivalry brewing between Milford and Tantasqua. They also matched up on the volleyball court in playoff format earlier this season, back during the fall season. Milford taking on their Tantasqua volleyball counterparts in the playoffs in the opening round of the playoffs, and Milford was able to earn the three-set sweep. So these schools are starting to get used to playing one another, and we expect a very good matchup here tonight. And for Milford, they're looking to get their season back on track after hitting the skids early on after an opening game to this 2016-17 season where Milford was able to defeat King Philip 60-50. Milford has dropped their last three consecutive games, losses at home to Franklin and on the road to Taunton and Malden. So Milford comes into this matchup just 1-3 on the young season. Tantasqua has won their first two games. They are off to a 2-0 start on the year. So Milford looking to turn this regular season around. This game was an excellent spark plug for them late in the season, bringing them some success, and they hope that this game will once again spark their season, as it is now happening in the early days of this 2016-17 school year. So again, a very good matchup on tap. Milford taking on Tantasqua in the opening round of the second annual Scarlet Hawk Classic. We will have the opening tip of this game when we come back next here on coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. Welcome right back inside the Milford Gymnasium, ladies and gentlemen. Time to get set for this tournament action between Milford and Tantasqua. Before we begin, our starting fives for these two teams tonight. First from Tantasqua, it is Adam Phillips, Michael Frio, Connor McCaffrey, Drew Peretti, and Ben Garrett. And for your Scarlet Hawks, it is Anthony Arcudi, Shane Kosket, Zach Tamani, Caden Kelly, and Alex Masick. Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini bringing you tonight's coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics as we bring you Milford's first game in the second annual Scarlet Hawk Classic. It is the second tournament game that has been played on the Milford gym tonight. We will update you on the final score of the first game as we go along tonight. But in the meantime, Caden Kelly ends up controlling that opening tip for the Scarlet Hawks, and Zach Tamani immediately flies inside. The off-balance shot, no good, and the rebound controlled by Tantasqua. They swing it down into the corner. Now the three-point shot is no good, and Caden Kelly pulls down his first rebound of the night, averaging nearly a double-double per game through these first four games. Now here's Arcudi. His cut to the basket is good, and that opens the scoring.
And that was a good little play set up there by Milford. A little bit of an off-ball screen allowed Arcudi to get open and allowed the easy layup.
An early 2-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks, as now Tantasqua looks to cut it inside. Instead, all alone from beyond the arc. The shot from Captain Connor McCaffrey is no good. So some early misses to open this first quarter for the Warriors. These two teams playing a high-scoring game when they played in the championship round of the Scarlet Hawk Classic a year ago. Milford notching over 70 points in the victory. As we have our first whistle of the night coming underneath the basket. Looks like it was Alex Masick called for the foul. Tantasqua able to get it in, now the ball loose at center court. The Warriors recover. Now the hard pass inside, they swing it back around out to the perimeter. They free up the three-point look for Drew Peretti. And another miss, and right now Tantasqua really trying to activate their outside shooters. As Tamani gets fouled on his way to the basket. I believe that foul was called on one of the senior captains, Ben Garrett. Tamani getting his first free throw to fall. The last time we had a chance to cover this Scarlet Hawks team was in their home opener against Franklin. Zach Tamani getting into foul trouble early in that game, was really relegated to very little use until the fourth quarter, could really not get into the flow of the offense until the game was all but out of hand.
And as we discussed before the game, Tim, Tamani has been very, very crucial to Milford's success this season. He's one of the senior leaders on this team, a captain, and they rely on him a lot for scoring as well as assists.
Drive baseline out of Tantasqua. A couple of opportunities for senior captain Connor McCaffrey, but both attempts come up empty. Now Milford up 4-0 with the ball with just over 6 minutes still to play in this opening quarter. The ball now in the hands of Anthony Arcudi. He gets it to Cosquet. Cosquet will drive inside. Thought he got fouled, tossed up an off-balance shot that wasn't close. And now Milford strips the ball loose. Cosquet gets it back in his hands. Now finds Tamani open from three. Can't get it to fall. And the rebound pulled down by Adam Phillips. Phillips, McCaffrey, and Garrett, the three captains for Tantasqua. And a lot of familiar faces on this Warriors team. 8 players returning from that squad that Milford faced in the tournament last year. And the student section getting Tantasqua to release that shot early, but Connor McCaffrey able to get it in from three-point range. And Milford answers right back. A 7-3 run for Milford to open the game, and now looks like we'll have an injury situation here immediately. Tom O'Neill, the head coach for Tantasqua, coming right out onto the court to pull junior Drew Peretti to the bench.
Yeah, it looked like he was grabbing his ribs or his chest area. I'm not quite sure what happened.
McCaffrey again. That time the three-point shot about halfway down and then rims out. Here's Tamani. He meets a wall inside. They get it back out. The jumper from Arcudi, no good. There's another rebound for Caden Kelly, averaging over 12 rebounds a game, and Cosquet able to drive inside. He gets the shot and the foul.
And that play is reliant on Caden Kelly. He's been a beast on the glass so far early in this game. Like you said, averaging almost a double-double, and they'll need him to be big underneath the glass today.
Shane finishes off the three-point play, puts Milford into double digits, a 10-3 lead, as now the defense puts the pressure on. Tantasqua advances the ball. With 4.5 minutes to go, they fake the three-point shot, and a good pass inside, and the layup no good for Ben Garrett. Now here's Tamani trying to body up against Adam Phillips. Whistle stopping the clock with an even 4 minutes and 20 seconds to play. Cosquet with the inbounds pass to Masick. And now they get it back to the point guard. Tamani directing traffic. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Bounce pass into Kelly, now outside to Masick. Masick thinking about three, instead comes inside. The ball gets knocked away. It'll stay Milford basketball with 12 seconds left on the shot clock. Quick inbounds to Masick. Milford in no hurry here as the student section counts it down. 2 seconds. Someone has to toss up the shot. Kelly able to get it away. The shot doesn't fall. Tamani gets the rebound. A fresh shot clock for Milford, and now the shot lands for Anthony Arcudi, his second three-pointer of the quarter. He's already up to 8 points, and Milford takes a 10-point advantage, 13-3 with 3:41 to go. Anthony, you didn't have a chance to join us for our first coverage of this boys team of the season. That came against Franklin. Milford came out of the gates storming against the Panthers, a similar situation to what we've seen so far, the 10-point lead. The key for Milford in this game is going to be to try to sustain that through 4 quarters.
Yeah, absolutely. We hope this isn't going to be a repeat performance of that game against Franklin. Like you said, they came out firing on all cylinders just like tonight. But I think this is going to be a good game for Milford tonight. They're really showing that they're going to be a force on the glass, specifically Caden Kelly, and they're knocking down the three-point shot early, specifically Anthony Arcudi, who's already up to 8 points. And anytime you have Zach Tamani leading the charge here, he's been leading this offense, this Milford offense, for a few years now. And 5 seniors, 7 juniors. Milford is primed to win now. And I think even against this very good Tantasqua team, they're going to be very successful tonight.
Back to action out of the timeout. Tantasqua trying to get something going. Instead, the pass kicks right off the hands of sophomore Hayden Peterson into the Milford bench, and that will go as a turnover. This Milford crowd can be an active presence out there on the court. That's exactly what's happening right now. It is a lively student section. They have been very vocal since the opening tip, and it seems like it has Tantasqua jittery out of the gates.
And it certainly helps that it's winter vacation, so a lot more Milford fans that maybe wouldn't show up on a weeknight or maybe even a Friday night are most likely in attendance here tonight.
3 minutes and 20 seconds to go after the Milford turnover. Tantasqua now trapped in the backcourt. They were able to get the pass away to McCaffrey, who's guarded closely by Arcudi. Into the far corner now, driving inside. The whistle stopping the clock with just over 3 minutes to go, and Masick called for his second foul. Long inbounds pass out to Phillips. And the steal by Tamani. He goes coast to coast and lays it in for 2. And now Tantasqua able to answer right back. Good speed out of Michael Frio. Keeps it a 10-point margin at 15-5. Good pace to this first quarter. Here's Arcudi. He takes the uncontested jump shot, and Arcudi, just like that, is in double figures. And we still have 2.5 minutes to play in the first. Here's McCaffrey over 3 defenders. And the shot is short. Milford able to save it. Arcudi takes it up the floor now before dishing off to Kosket. Kosket to Caden Kelly, who can't land the shot. A defensive rebound that time from Peterson. Under 2 minutes in the first quarter. Frio, the shot no good. Immediately up the floor to Tamani. He's in trouble and turns it over now the other way, and the shot, that might have been swatted away from behind for Milford. Now they immediately get it back up the floor to Tamani, who gets rejected as 3 bodies fall to the floor. And the physicality getting ratcheted up, and again, we're still not even out of the opening quarter.
And a lot of excitement in a very short span of time. An excellent, excellent track back by Anthony Arcudi. You don't expect that out of a little guy like him, only measures about 6 feet, but he was able to get that block, and then the other way, Tamani thought he had an open lane, but Tantasqua cut it off, and he's called for the charge.
It's a good defense on both sides of the floor. With Milford up by 12. Tantasqua slowing down the pace just a bit here on this offensive possession. Adam Kevin Phillips, the ball handler. Now gets it to Camarello into the game for the first time. Shot clock down to 4. And an easy look inside for Peterson. And they wave off the shot. They're going to say that that attempt from Peterson did not touch rim, and it will end up going as a shot clock violation for the Warriors.
Yeah, that one looked like it just skimmed right off the backboard. Never looked like it got any rim. So a good call there by the officiating crew.
They do get together briefly, but they stick with the call for the shot clock violation. And now Zach Tamaro checks into the game. He will inbound the basketball. And Anthony Arcudi gets a rest here, as does Caden Kelly. Alex Masick also to the bench, so Coach Seaver getting his bench activated here inside of the final minute of the first quarter. Here's Joey DeMarco back out to Cosquet, who runs point. Time winding down on the shot clock as DeMarco unleashes a 3 and drains it. The Milford crowd loves that. 25 seconds to go in the quarter as Milford is up to 20 points. Tantasqua passes up the contested outside shot. And I'll call the foul on the Scarlet Hawks here, and all Coach Seaver can do is smile. Zach Tamani also not liking the call.
Well, you mentioned the bench getting involved now, Tim. That's going to be very important for Milford, not only tonight, but also for the rest of the season. Outside of Nate Davila, the bench has been kind of unproductive so far. So we saw the 3 go down by DeMarco. Hopefully some of these other guys can start getting involved in the scoring or even contributing on the boards or in the assist column.
Michael Frio at the free throw line. A couple of successful free throw shots makes it a 20-7 score with 15.6 seconds to go. One more free throw coming up.
Yeah, it looked like Frio was satisfied after 2. Forgot he was shooting a 3.
And ends up missing the 3rd. Tantasqua able to track down the loose ball. That ball ended up glancing out of play. Last touched by Milford, so a chance here for Tantasqua to inbound with 11 seconds left. Trying to chip a little bit more into this lead. And now the Warriors committing the turnover.
And a good substitution there by Coach Seaver, knowing on a defensive situation, needed a little bit of a bigger body in the game. Subs in Caden Kelly and a great shutdown underneath by the big fella.
Tamani gets the ball to DeMarco. Now Caden Kelly has to toss up a quick shot. Couldn't really set the feet, and the long jumper doesn't fall, but an excellent start to this tournament game for Milford. A 20-7 lead after the first 8 minutes. And just a combination of solid shooting and very good defense for Milford over that opening 8 minutes, Anthony.
Yeah, it absolutely was. You know, Caden Kelly coming through with a bunch of rebounds early in the first quarter. Anthony Arcudi coming out hot right from the start of the game, contributing 10 points. He got a well-deserved breather at the end of that first quarter. But overall, just great rebounding, great defense, great shooting from the outside, and Tantasqua really needs to get some dribble drive penetration, force those bigs to start cheating out a little bit in order to dish off some passes, open out the wings, and allow some drives by the guards to get some easy layups.
We mentioned this is the second game of this first day of tournament action. The early game was played between Waltham High School and Norwood High School. It ended up being a very exciting game that came right down to the wire. Waltham led most of the way, but Norwood was able to cut it to a one-possession game inside of a minute to go. But some quality free throw shooting for Waltham allowed them to close out the game. Waltham defeating Norwood by a final score of 75-69. So right now it is Waltham High School who awaits the winner of this game tonight. They will play for the championship. Milford hoping to meet up with Waltham in that championship game on Thursday night. If so, it would be Hawks versus Hawks, but obviously still 3 quarters to go to decide who will meet Waltham in that championship game. Mike Traficante into the game, receiving that pass. It ends up back out into the hands of Tamani, who gets it stripped underneath the basket. Tamani, Traficante, DeMarco, Tomorrow. And Brendan White, the 5 on the floor for Milford right now. They go heavy to their subs. It will be Milford basketball with just over 30 seconds elapsed in this second quarter. Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini on the call for Milford TV. Tamani driving inside. They call the foul on the visitors.
And that's where Milford is particularly effective when Tamani can get in the lanes like that. Not only is he going to draw some fouls, but he's also going to draw the bigs to him, and he can dish out off to the wings. That's where Tamani is very, very effective, and that's what makes him such a strong leader and a strong scorer for this team.
Zach Tomorrow is in some trouble, able to get the ball away. Back to Tamani. Now it's White inside. He gets tangled up with Drew Peretti, and they will call the travel. And now another loose ball. Milford able to come away with it as Tamani quickly gets the pass to DeMarco, who saw heavy contact on his way to the rim. We did not see Joey DeMarco in game action in our first coverage of the boys in their home opener against Franklin, but seeing some extended time from the end of the first quarter now into the second period. This lively student section continuing to offer their encouragement to the Scarlet Hawks out there on the floor. One more shot coming up for DeMarco, and he misses both. Keeps the score at 20-7, looking for our first made basket of the second quarter. Meanwhile, Anthony Arcudi now coming back into the game. Caden Kelly as well, starting to get some of the starters back out there after a decent amount of rest. Tantasqua will take the shot from three-point range. No good. There's Kelly again, ripping down that defensive rebound.
And almost a lazy pass there by Kelly. Didn't quite look where he was throwing it to. Almost got intercepted by Tantasqua.
There's Tomorrow to the rim. Just can't finish, but Brendan White gets it back. And he's able to get the second chance points. So these bench players for Milford continuing to get on the score sheet in this first half. It's still a comfortable 22-7 lead for the Scarlet Hawks as Cosquet, quick hands for the steal. Was he able to stay in bounds? Almost looked like a wide receiver trying to keep those feet in.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Tim.
Tantasqua basketball, a dangerous pass, almost taken away by Tomorrow. They keep the ball outside. Good defense by Milford as the shot clock comes down to 10 seconds. Here's McCaffrey. He tosses up a shot off the back of the rim. Both White and Kelly go down trying to grab the rebound. Cosquet gets the floating shot to fall. A 17-point lead now for the Scarlet Hawks as the three-pointer from the corner misses for Peretti. Now the hard bounce pass to Tomorrow. He takes it to the basket and scores.
What a pass by Anthony Arcudi. That's a one-handed bounce pass from midcourt and found Tomorrow striding all the way to the rim for an easy two.
We mentioned it, this Tantasqua team, this is a veteran team. A lot of their players on this varsity roster returning from a team last season that won a district title. They were the victors out of the Division II West bracket, made it all the way to the Division II state semifinal round where they eventually fell to Concord Carlisle, but this was a very talented team a season ago, coming out of the gate strong again this year, scoring 60+ points in each of their first 2 victories. But right now, Milford has made this a one-sided first half, up 26-7, with still 5 minutes and change to play in the second quarter.
And you would expect some of the same from Tantasqua coming into this game. Still returning 5 seniors, returning 5 juniors. So this isn't a young team by any stretch of the imagination, but Milford has just outplayed them so far here in almost the first half of play.
A couple of bounce passes up the floor for Tantasqua. They get it into the hands of McCaffrey, and he has it pulled away by Arcudi. Again, Milford just outworking Tantasqua in every phase of this game so far. Here's Cosquet, and gets a friendly roll around the rim. And right now, Cosquet getting hot in the second quarter. Milford's confidence right now sky high.
And I think Tantasqua should start taking notes on what Milford is doing right now, getting to the basket. Ultimately, that's what you got to do. Any team that's going to be successful needs to get some guys in foul trouble and get to the free throw line. And they're going to get easy layups eventually. Tantasqua needs to start driving to the basket and getting some layups.
A 21-point lead for the Scarlet Hawks, up 28-7. We will take a very quick timeout, and more to come in this first half when we come back here on Milford TV. The Scarlet Hawks managed to score just 41 total points in a 60-41 loss to Malden last Friday. That was their last game, already with 28 first half points here tonight. As Tantasqua comes away with this ball, and rejected by Caden Kelly on the defensive end. Here's Arcudi, full speed up the floor, and gets the layup.
Couple of big blocks out of Milford so far in this game. That time Kelly getting the block, and Arcudi finishing, who had the other big block earlier in the game.
Air ball for Tantasqua. Initially it looked like Masick might lose the rebound, but Milford comes away with it. Now Nate Davila out on the floor. His first shot of the night is no good. Midway through the second quarter, and the quick release on the 3 for Tantasqua. Gets nothing, and the whistle stops the clock with 3:57 to go. We'll see free throws here out of the Warriors.
Oh, they got that foul on Milford?
It's hard to see where it happened.
Looked like Couture was grabbing onto Masick down low. Looked like a good box out from our angle. Masick looked like he had the position down low.
Couture able to get the first free throw. Misses the second. Milford quickly getting the ball up the floor to Nate Davila. Back in the hands of Cosquet. The offensive foul charged to the Scarlet Hawks.
One thing that's very impressive about this Milford team, despite that foul there, is the ability for them to go both big and small. They can go with a 3-guard lineup. They can go with a 3-forward lineup. They can go with a 4-forward lineup. They can go with a 3-guard lineup. There are a lot of combinations that Coach Seaver has to work with here.
You've seen so far tonight the matchups have been in Milford's favor all over the floor as we see another rejected shot.
And just nobody for Tantasqua has the height to compete with Caden Kelly down low, or the physicality.
It's the big difference from this Tantasqua team from a season ago. J.J. Howland was a very valuable inside presence for them, graduating last spring, as that ball ticks off the hands of Tantasqua and out of play. The lead up to 22 points for the Scarlet Hawks. As the ball ends up in Zach Tamani's hands. Outside for Davila from three-point range. A shot short, but Arcudi is able to track down the loose basketball. And Milford slows down the tempo a bit, coming down to 3 minutes to play in the half. Here's Kelly, a good pass to Masick. Tries for the one-handed shot, bouncing in and out. Now the three-pointer for the Warriors, no good. Caden Kelly owning the glass. Here's Tamani, zigzags around a defender. Only 6 points in this first half out of Zach Tamani, but Milford has been getting scoring from nearly every player on the floor. It's been an evenly distributed offensive effort. Call the foul prior to the shot.
Only 6 points so far for Tamani, but we're not even halfway through this game, and he's already about halfway to his average for the season. Problem for Tamani so far tonight is he's been overshadowed by some of the other guys. Caden Kelly's playing very, very well. Arcudi has 12 points. Just getting so much production. For Kosket has 7 points. So everyone else is just overshadowing Tamani, but he's playing very well.
Chance to shoot free throws here and drains the first one. Student section staying engaged as Tamani's second attempt goes off the front of the rim. That's his first miss tonight. He's 3 for 4. As that ball comes free, Arcudi's active hands again. He goes coast to coast. Adds to his impressive first half point total.
And he's just been everywhere tonight. Offense, defense, steals, rebounds, blocks, jump shots, layups, you name it. Arcudi's been all over the place tonight.
Zach Tamani leaving his feet, trying to poke that ball loose. Two minutes and 3 seconds to go. See free throws from the senior captain, Connor McCaffrey. McCaffrey with just 3 points in this first half. Of course, Tantasqua yet to reach double digits in points as a team. Chance to do it here with one more free throw coming up for McCaffrey. Two for 2 on that trip to the line for McCaffrey. As we go under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Mike Traficante back out on the floor. As Coach Seaver goes back to his bench, Milford commits the turnover. We see Traficante, DeMarco, Tamaro back out on the floor. Evan Couture able to knock down that three. Still a 20-plus point lead for the Scarlet Hawks. Arcudi, the behind-the-back pass to Traficante, who just can't finish. You can see the frustration on his face. So Tantasqua a chance to string a couple of baskets together to begin to chip away at this large deficit, and they're able to get another three-pointer, this time out of McCaffrey. So Tantasqua's offense starting to wake up a bit as Tamani can't knock down the shot. And McCaffrey again from three. And so the points coming in a hurry. All of a sudden, a quick 10-point run out of this Tantasqua Warriors team, bringing the score to 35-19.
Yeah, a little bit of life right now for Tantasqua. Milford's really slowed their tempo down. They were better when they were playing fast, so I think they really need to speed it up here to finish the first half.
A very quick 11-0 run in all for Tantasqua. It was 35-8 when McCaffrey was able to knock down those free throws, and then Tantasqua's outside shooters springing to life. Threes out of Couture and a pair from McCaffrey.
Well, this Tantasqua team was just too good to stay dormant for that long. You know, maybe move this momentum here to end the first half will carry over into the second half for Tantasqua, but there's still 27 seconds left. A lot can happen in that time.
Tamani shooting free throws here. And makes them both. Tamani 5 of 6 from the free throw line in the first half. And now the shot clock turned off. Tantasqua with the opportunity to play for the final shot. Tight defense played by the Hawks. Good inside move, and Evan Couture comes away with the bucket. And a chance for three.
And that's a mistake by Traficante. All he has to do is keep his hands straight up. Instead, he decides to get in on the block party and go for a block. But he was able to hack Couture. Couture is able to finish and goes to the line to try to complete the three-point play.
So maybe a little too much confidence for Milford here down the stretch in the first half, as some sloppiness along with some better shooting out of Tantasqua has allowed them to start to chip away. A bucket there brings the point total for Tantasqua up to 23 points. Dramatically changing the look of the scoreboard here over these final few minutes. In the end, Milford goes into the locker room up 37-23, but you can see the body language from Coach Seaver, Anthony, not too happy with how that half came to an end.
No, 2 minutes ago, this was a very lopsided score in favor of Milford. Tantasqua was only at 8 points. Now they're at 23. And like you mentioned, combination of good shooting and poor defense and poor rebounding to end that first half for Milford really changed the potential outcome of this game. Tantasqua now has a lot of momentum. They're still down by 14, but you never know what can happen once a team starts knocking down some shots and gaining momentum. All it takes is to see the ball go in the basket to get some confidence. So Tantasqua, I expect, is going to come out guns a-blazing to begin the second half.
It was a 35-8 score with about 2 minutes to play in that half, and then all of a sudden a very quick 14-2 run to close out the first half for Tantasqua. Makes it a much more palatable score for the visitors. It is 37-23, Milford still in front. As we have reached halftime, we will step away, and we'll have the beginning of the third quarter for you when we come back next in this game on day one of the second annual Scarlet Hawk Classic, which we bring you here on Milford TV. And we welcome you right back inside the gymnasium at Milford High School as we bring you second half action between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Tantasqua Regional High School Warriors in their game in night one of the second annual Scarlet Hawk Classic. As you can see on the scoreboard, Milford with a 37-23 lead. The Milford defense getting a little leaky in the late stages of the first half, allowing what at the time was a full-on blowout to get just a little bit closer, and now Tantasqua controlling the ball off the opening tip of this second half, trying to keep the momentum going. They get called for the backcourt violation. Tim Coet and Anthony Mazzini continuing the coverage of Scarlet Hawks boys basketball here on Milford TV. Alex Masick now with a chance to inbound. Tantasqua closing out that first half on a 14-2 run. It is still a sizable lead for Milford at 14 points. Milford, after the whistle, will have a chance to inbound. Cosquet Sends the long pass out to Alex Masick. Masick, Kosket, Tamani, Kelly, and Arcudi, the original starting five, back out on the floor. That pass catching Kelly by surprise. He's able to recover. He takes it to the basket, and it rolls in for two.
And you don't like to see your big guy catch the ball out on the arc like that. But Kelly, 2 dribbles, couple of long steps, and he's able to finish at the rim.
First points of the night for Caden Kelly, but making his money rebounding the basketball on both ends of the floor in the first half.
And a couple of block shots. Very, very active on the defensive end.
Anthony Arcudi, your points leader in the first half for Milford. He had 14. Zach Tamani with 9. Shane Kosket with 7. Good up fake that time for Evan Couture. Couture hit a couple of big 3-pointers in the late stages of that first half. Now gets the first shot of the third quarter.
And as you mentioned, the point scorers for Milford so far, that's good. And we mentioned Kelly, who only scored his first 2 points just a few minutes ago. It's good to take the pressure off maybe one of your better scorers on this team when you have other guys that can produce as well.
The ball stolen by Adam Phillips. And now around the perimeter for Couture. Another good fake for Tantasqua, but they commit the travel. .6:01 on the game clock for this third quarter. Zach Tamani coming in, he receives the pass. Guarded closely by senior Mike Froyo. The ball knocks out of play. It'll stay Milford ball as Kosket readies for the inbounds pass. Having some trouble. Eventually Milford gets it in. Now here's Masick. He drives his way inside. The shot won't fall. Rebound for Adam Phillips. Phillips able to clear himself, or excuse me, Couture, I should say, clearing himself for the shot, but he cannot land it. And now another Scarlet Hawks turnover. Milford has not been able to regain that dominant form that they had for much of the first half. They pass up the first look from 3-point range. They get it into the hands of Connor McCaffrey. All the shots that McCaffrey has made from the floor so far in this game have been from 3-point range, up to 14 points in all, and now this game tightening up all the more. That lead down to 11, and Milford calls the timeout.
Yeah, Milford's going to have to start doing a better job closing out on McCaffrey. Like you mentioned, Tim, all of his shots so far that have gone in have been 3-pointers. He's up to 14 points now. They're just not doing a good job getting out to the perimeter. They're doing great on the inside. Kelly on the inside, White on the inside, Masick, tomorrow. They're doing a great job on the boards and blocking shots, but it's the outside. It's behind the three-point arc that Tantasqua's doing their damage right now, specifically McCaffrey, so they're going to have to get out on those shooters a little bit more effectively.
The Warriors really struggled from long range through much of the first half, and no doubt a big reason why they didn't even get into double digits in points until the closing minutes of the half. But those 3-point shooters got hot in those final minutes of the second quarter, and they've rolled that right on into the third.
It looks like Milford's gotten a little bit complacent here. You know, they had that big lead in the first half, and even at the big end of the first half, Milford just didn't look like they're like the same team that they showed for the first 10 minutes of the game.
Good feed to Kelly. He finishes. And this is a team you can tell when they're home, they feed a lot off of the crowd. The crowd was very active, very emotional through that first half. Still on their feet here in the third quarter, but they've been a little bit quiet since that big lead. But now Milford's starting to heat up again as Arcudi drains another 3.
Well, the crowd reacts to how the team plays, and when Milford starts to become ineffective, the crowd's going to get out of it a little bit. So hopefully a few shots by Milford, that 3 by Arcudi, maybe that'll ignite the crowd a little bit.
It's the third three-pointer in the game for Arcudi. When these two teams matched up last season, Milford made a total of 12 three-pointers in that game. A big reason they were able to come away with the victory. It's up to a 44-28 lead. Tantasqua trying to drive inside. Now back out for the captain, Ben Garrett. Now it's Phillips. They try to free up Couture for the shot. Now he drives inside. Both Kelly and Arcudi going up for the block. Looks like they call the foul on Anthony Arcudi.
And Arcudi just got flat out beat by Couture. Little jab step by Couture to the right, and then he took it left. And Arcudi was just left flat-footed.
Leads to free throws for Evan Couture. Couture 2 of 3 from the line so far tonight, with one more coming up here. This is his second. And now here's Tamani picking up speed, sees a lane to the basket. And he'll head to the line. That was another big piece of Milford's game in the first half, building up that big lead, is those aggressive moves from Tamani to the basket. .358 to play in the third quarter.
And if Milford's going to build that lead back up again, they need Tamani to start getting back to his dribble drive penetration. After that, Tamani either has an easy layup, Caden Kelly cleans up his miss, or he kicks it out to Arcudi, who's been hot from three-point range.
A make and a miss. Now Milford putting on the pressure defensively, but Tantasqua able to advance the ball. Still using Couture as their primary shooting target. That time his release was off the mark. An opportunity for Milford here to reestablish a 20-point lead. Tantasqua had cut it as close as 11. Now here's White. He gets it to Masick, who swings it to Arcudi. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Here's Kelly, gets a couple of bounces off the back of the rim. The shot will not fall. No luck that time for Kelly.
Kelly nearing a double-double now. He's up to 6 points, and I would imagine he's in double-figure rebounding. I'm not quite sure the exact stat, but he's been a force on the glass all day so far.
Here's Tamani now. He takes the shot from three-point range. Gives a little salute to the crowd after for style points. 50 points now for the Scarlet Hawks as Tantasqua can't answer back. The loose ball poked out all the way to Froyo. I believe it was McCaffrey who came away with the bucket that time. Two minutes and 43 seconds to go in the third quarter. Lead at 19. Tamani working against Frio, excuse me. White drives to the basket, can't elevate the shot. Now down the other end of the floor, they quickly get it to Camarello. That's his first bucket of the game. Now Tamani through traffic to Caden Kelly, who has his shot partially blocked.
Frio is not happy about that call. It looked like he got all ball on that play, trying to return the favor to Kelly, who's probably blocked him a few times. But Kelly's able to draw the foul and goes to the line for 2.
We've seen it a lot so far this season. Caden Kelly is just such a matchup nightmare. So few teams have a body they can put on Kelly that can measure up.
And it's not just his height, Tim. It's also his leaping ability, his length. You know, a lot of guys are tall, but they don't have the lanky, tall arms, the active feet. He's just the whole package down low.
And 2 for 2 shooting free throws. Ball almost secured by Kelly. Tomorrow also in on it. End up calling the foul against
Garrett, I believe.
Like the gesture initially from the ref, as if the foul was going to go on Tomorrow, but it went on Tantasqua instead. So Milford handling the basketball with under 2 minutes to play in the quarter. Here's Anthony Arcudi from the corner. It's a pair of three-point shots in this third quarter for Arcudi. And he is up now to an even 20 points in the game.
And they call him the Karate Kid. I overheard some of his buddies before the game yelling Karate Kid out to Arcudi, but you know, whatever style he prefers, it's working, so you keep that headband on, kid.
Now tips that ball right to Kelly, gets it back, can't finish, but there's Brendan White for the putback. 4 points in the game for White, who now almost comes away with the steal. McCaffrey for Tantasqua losing his footing. It will stay Warrior basketball with 93 seconds to go in the quarter. Coach O'Neill on the Tantasqua side, frustrated after he saw a good effort from his team to close out the first half, and through the opening few possessions for his team here in the third, but Milford has regained control. It's a 24-point lead for the Hawks as the long-range shot clanks off the rim. Two sides get tangled up. I believe they called for the jump ball. It will be Milford basketball. White gets it into Shane Kosket. Kosket nearly losing his footing, but maintains control. Zach Tamani getting a well-deserved rest in this game. Milford turning it over as Arcudi now ends up on the floor. The shot for Phillips, no good. Kosket now backs off, slows down the tempo. 30 seconds to play in the quarter as White slipped in the back door and ends up getting an easy layup.
And that's another one of those off-ball screens that Milford's been doing very well at so far in this game. White the recipient of that easy basket.
Final 13 seconds now. Kosket setting up the final shot. The fans once again count down the clock as Arcudi slips inside. He gets the layup, and that is it for the third quarter. 2 more points for Arcudi, who is working on a career night here tonight, and Milford, after a shaky finish to the first half, a bit of a shaky start to this third quarter, they right the ship, and they are the owners of a 61-33 lead, and Anthony right back in full control of this basketball game.
Yeah, almost back to a 30-point lead now, Tim, and that aggressiveness and quickness and speed that Milford showed at the end of that third quarter is what they did for the first 10 minutes of this game that got them the big lead in the first place. Every team goes through a little bit of a rut over the course of a game. For Milford, it was a little bit longer than I think they would have liked, but now they're right back to where they need to be.
And for Milford, that layup from Anthony Arcudi to close out the third quarter established a new single game point high for Milford on the season. Their previous high had been 60 points in their 60-50 opening night win against King Philip. So now 61 points here tonight with still 8 minutes left to play. And well out in front of Tantasqua. The Warriors, meanwhile, came into this game tonight at 2-0 on the season, winning their opening game against St. Peter Marion by a final score of 69-40, and defeating Millbury back on December 12th by a final score of 64-48. The one thing you can say for Tantasqua as we get this fourth quarter started is they did have quite a long layoff in between games. They had a game scheduled for December 23rd that ended up getting postponed, so they have not played in a basketball game since December 16th.
Between that and I think Milford's 3-game losing streak, Milford came into this game with a little bit of an advantage, not only being a little bit more fresh and game ready, but also the drive to want to win. Who wants to lose 4 games in a row? Milford clearly didn't tonight.
Caden Kelly takes it all the way to the rack. Kelly up to 8 points now on the night, as Milford now establishes an even 30-point lead. Milford out there right now with 2 of their captains, Anthony Arcudi and Caden Kelly, along with Shane Cosquet, Brendan White, and Zach Tamaro. Couture gets the ball into Jackson Hall, a sophomore. Pair of sophomores on this team, otherwise all juniors and seniors, as there is Caden Kelly just ripping that ball away from Cam Morello. Now Cosquet, a high arcing 3-point shot. Tried to draw the foul for good measure, did not get the foul, didn't get the shot, and now Tantasqua back the other way. Called for the travel.
And at this point, Kelly doesn't even have to block shots. All he has to do is stand there, and the guys for Tantasqua are just going to start traveling or turning the ball over because they don't even want to go up with the ball at this point. They want to save themselves from the embarrassment.
Both of these teams made it into the playoffs a season ago. Milford just sneaking in at 10-10. Ended up losing a first-round matchup to Holliston, whereas Tantasqua went all the way to a state semifinal game. But right now, Milford just absolutely owning this game here tonight. Still 6 minutes and change left to play in the fourth quarter. Coach O'Neill starting to get some of his subs into this fourth quarter with the deficit upwards of 30 points. Brendan White, good pass inside to Cosquet. Couldn't land the shot. Tamami and Masick parked at the scorer's table, waiting to eventually check back into this game. The three-pointer well off the mark for the Warriors. Milford controls the rebound. Brendan White trying to take it to the basket. He goes down hard. Mike Traficante also now checking in along with Masick and Tamani. Tamaro and White to the bench.
And for a team like Milford that totals 12 total seniors and juniors, it's good to see a guy like Brendan White give Milford some quality minutes, gives them a future for this program.
Right from the start of the season, you can tell that Brendan White is one of the guys that Coach Seaver trusts coming off of that bench. At times he's kept the rotation relatively small, as this inbounds pass goes nearly the length of the floor before Arcudi was able to track it down.
Well, I'm sure, as in most coaches' philosophy, it depends on the matchup of the team they're playing, whether they have to go big or small, or they can rotate it around. I'm sure it depends on foul trouble, who's playing hot at the right time, who's maybe not getting the job done on the floor. So you mentioned that, keeps the rotation small sometimes, but games like tonight, he extends the bench a little bit. So it all depends on the game situation, all depends on who's playing well. But it's good to see guys who maybe don't get a lot of minutes on a normal night, such as Brendan White, come in here and get some playing time and play well.
This has felt like a game that's been very useful for Coach Seaver to kind of get a feel for who he can trust more off that bench. So far this season, we've seen Nate Davila really serve as that sixth man off the bench. We haven't seen much of Davila tonight. Instead, we've gotten a good long look at guys like Traficante, guys like Zach Tomorrow, guys like Brendan White, and they have delivered.
I wonder if Coach Seaver will go a little bit deeper into the bench with such a large margin here tonight. Still 4 minutes left to play, but this one looks out of hand for Tantasqua.
Whistle after Evan Couture tossed up the long-range jumper. And he will go to the line to shoot 3. Milford captains Tamani and Arcudi with a bit of a lighthearted conversation with the official before Couture's free throws. Evan missing the first. Arcudi and Tamani getting a big hand now from the crowd as they head to the bench, and you have to wonder if that's going to be the night for the two senior captains.
Yeah, usually when you get an ovation like that, it signals your night's over. Barring an unseen circumstance, but with the margin this large, I don't think that'll be necessary tonight to have those two guys come back in.
Nate Davila out on the floor, Joey DeMarco back out there, along with Masek Traficante. And Zach Tomorrow also on the floor for the Scarlet Hawks. Under 4.5 minutes to play. 31-point lead for the Scarlet Hawks, who now come away with the basketball. Cosquet, the lone starter, still out there on the floor. And inside to Traficante again. Can't land the layup, and these fans have been eager for Traficante to get on the score sheet tonight. He's had a couple of looks from point-blank range and hasn't been able to nail him down.
Yeah, he's had a little bit of a tough night so far. Airballed a free throw not too long ago, and then an easy layup that he just botched right there. So Traficante will, I'm sure, be looking forward to the next game.
Meanwhile, Joey DeMarco going to the free throw line. And cannot knock down the shot. Couture gets the contact on the way to the basket. The girls basketball team not in action tonight, getting an extended break around the holidays, and that gives an opportunity for girls coach TJ Dolliver to be in attendance tonight, seated just behind the Milford bench. Couture lands that free throw as the fans start to call out some subs that they'd like to see come into this game in the late stages. Pat Brajoli getting into the game here. Ticking down to 3.5 minutes to play. Three-pointer no good from Drew Peretti. Paul Spiliakos right now at the scorer's table. Looks like he'll get a chance to see his first game action. Davila inside, tries a bit of a circus shot that doesn't fall. Now just misses out on the steal as Couture gets the bucket. 65-38 score. Inside for DeMarco. Five points in the game for Joey. Peretti inside. DeMarco ends up on his back.
And it looks like Milford's going to get the rest of the bench involved now.
We'll get some more cheers from the Milford student section. So we'll now get a look at Steve Sutherland into the game. Paul Spiliakos also out there on the floor. Danny Corsini getting his first look. Along with DeMarco and Bergioli. So every member of this varsity squad has had an opportunity to see game action. Corsini trying to get that floater in the lane, but did not land it. A 67-38 score with 1:48 seconds to play.
And the reserves always appreciate a game like this where they love to see the team win, but they also love to get a little bit of game time. So I'm sure the reserves will be thanking the starters a little bit for giving them such a lopsided victory here tonight. They're able to get some game action, so good for them.
Garrett Cassavant into the game for Tantasqua. And gets a nice bounce off the back of the rim on the free throw. So barring a comeback the likes of which has never been seen on a basketball court, Milford will take on Waltham in the championship game of the Scarlet Hawk Classic, with Tantasqua taking on Norwood in the consolation game. As the clock comes down to 90 seconds to play, DeMarco, the high feed inside to Sutherland. He can't control it, stolen by Tantasqua. Couture still in the game, up the floor. Milford trying to draw the charge, but instead Couture will go to the free throw line. It's 4 points from the free throw line in the fourth quarter for Couture. He misses the second one.
At this point in the game, with such a lopsided margin, anything now for either side is just padding the box score a little bit.
And now we'll see free throws on the other end. A chance for Pat Bergioli to get himself on the score sheet. Pair makes for the junior, Pat Bergioli. Couture, the long pass to Jack Dalton. Back to Couture, who drives inside. Couture right now, a one-man offense for Tantasqua through these final minutes. Some of the student section starts to make an early exit. inside of the final minute of this fourth quarter. Three from the corner, no good for Tantasqua. The ball deflected out. Another chance for Tantasqua.
Speliako's getting in on the block party here, getting a little bit of a stat sheet pad.
Outside to Peretti. Now the no-look pass into the corner. It's Jackson Hall. 34 seconds to play. Around to Couture. Evan Couture also helping out his stat line in this fourth quarter. Milford a chance to drain the rest of this clock. And they will hold on to it here as the final 5 seconds start to tick down. DeMarco hands it off, and that is that. A dominant performance, really from start to finish. And it all totals up to a 69-46 victory for the Scarlet Hawks. They earn their second win of the season. They defeat the Tantasqua Warriors in the Scarlet Hawk Classic tournament for the second straight season, and Milford will move on to the championship game of this tournament, where they will face the Waltham Hawks coming up on Thursday night. But before we look ahead, again, Anthony, just a very strong performance. You talked about it coming into the game, a 3-game losing streak for Milford. They wanted to see that come to an end tonight, and they made sure it happened. Yeah, there was a little bit of a lapse in the middle of the game, particularly at the end of the second quarter, and it carried over a little bit into the third quarter. Milford just didn't look like themselves, but they started the game very hot and they ended the game very well, able to get some of the reserves in. Now they'll go on to the championship game, and they'll play Waltham. And Tim, you and I were able to see a little bit of the end of that game. Both teams were very, very competitive, very, very strong, showed some height on either side, some strength, some speed. So Milford's going to have their work cut out for them, and for Tantasqua, they got to go back to the drawing board a little bit here. They did not play their best basketball tonight, and if they're going to compete with Norwell, they're going to have to do some things differently in their next game. But for Milford, great job on the glass, great job from the three-point line, great job on defense, distributed the ball, able to get everyone involved in the scoring. The whole bench was able to play today, so a lot of things that Milford can be excited about tonight. Yeah, Milford will have their hands full. Waltham winning their game in this first night of the Scarlet Hawk Classic, 75-69. So Milford taking on Waltham on 7 o'clock on Thursday in the championship game of the Scarlet Hawk Classic. That is our next coverage of Milford Scarlet Hawks basketball. We will look forward to covering the championship game in a couple of nights, but in the meantime, a big thank you to our crew on hand for this game this evening, our director, Rob O'Keefe, our camera operators, Mike Sperling, Joey Marcello, and Malcolm Zale, and for Anthony Mazzini, I'm Tim Coet. Your final score one final time tonight. Milford able to defeat the Tantasqua Warriors by a final score of 69-46. This has been a presentation of Scarlet Hawks Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.